It's always a controversial opinion when someone say that all they are looking for are amazing graphics. However, we can all agree that when a game smacks us with real-life visuals, we can only be happy and spend hundreds of hours. I can't even begin to think about how many times I wandered around just exploring the world. That's why I have made a list of some great graphic games that will keep you hooked to your seats. Before we look at the first game, please click that subscribe button and don't forget about the bonus games. Ghost of Tsushima. We are starting out with the sole definition of immersive graphics. Tsushima is a well-known game, and every player knows about its different aspects such as an engaging storyline, stunning visuals, intense combat, and an interactive open world. It's sort of silly that I'm talking about this game once again. However, I just can't help it. No matter how much I try, it's almost impossible not to include Ghost of Tsushima, because the game always manages to make its way back into the top 10 lists. PC gamers are going crazy about how awesome the game literally is. Every piece falls into place and there are no downsides at all. Sure, some will probably criticize the game for weird reasons, but we can all agree that Tsushima gave us something that we will appreciate for decades to come. Now, I know that the topic of this video is best graphics, therefore I just want to say that you'll never hate this game, because every scenery is spectacular. Every visual screams as if it's been Thora. What should I say? Just play the damn game, guys. Also, I forgot to mention the intro. I don't see many people talk about it, but do you guys remember when the game first opens up to you and you can freely roam around the map? Remember that background music and those white flowers? Like, oh my god, that was one of the peak moments of the game. It's like developers are telling the players about how amazing the open world's gonna be. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Please, that's not listening.
Alright folks, get ready to experience a full-on action game combined with tons of jokes and humor. This time you don't have to dive into any deep storylines or grind a lot just to buy a new set of armor. Ratchet and Clank is a series that has always been known for awesomeness. Every player loves to step in the shoes of Ratchet and venture on a journey filled with crazy moments along with your best buddy Clank. Both of you will venture on a journey across different dimensions with hilarious jokes and punchlines. This is one of those games that will hook you in and will never let you go till the end. You will be amazed to see how amazing each moment is because the game's main focus is plain enjoyment. The developers have put a lot of effort into making the game extremely fun, so players can have a great time and sit back, relax, drink some Coke while having the time of their life. Now, if we talk about some basic aspects then, as you know, it's a third-person shooting game, which is the ultimate best thing besides the graphics because you will have a huge arsenal of weapons. Believe me, it's such an awesome thing to experiment with different weapons as they literally enhance the experience. We all know that the gameplay, visuals, and graphics are top-notch, so there's no need to go any deeper. Rift Apart is the best game in the series in terms of graphics. Nevertheless, if you're in a mood for some lighthearted action and just want to boot up your console and start blasting enemies, then there's no better pick than Rift Apart. Every moment in this game is precious and hilarious. You're gonna love it. Metro Exodus. Well now, let's talk about some hardcore post-apocalyptic action. Exodus is the best game in the series. Everything has been taken up a notch. The developers went all out creating an immersive world consisting of various environments along with an engaging storyline and characters. Now, when you first think of post-apocalyptic games, then most likely you think of barren lands, destroyed buildings, or some kind of virus where you're just trying to survive or finding a cure. However, trust me when I say this, Metro Exodus is so much more than that. Unlike the previous Metro games, here you're not just traveling in the tunnels. The game gives you a big open world which sometimes feels sort of linear because of how everything is arranged. You play as Artyom, whose main job is to help the other survivors by completing certain tasks and keep a check on the train. I forgot to mention, but in this game all the survivors live on a train as the outside conditions are not safe. Therefore, it's essential that everything flows smoothly for everyone's survival. Now, you must have gotten the picture. Metro Exodus is all about traveling to different locations ensuring the survival of of humanity. Even though there's a lot of good stuff in this game, there are only 3 things that I absolutely love. The first one is the cutscenes. The game literally has some of the coolest cutscenes that will almost give you the vibe of a movie. My second best thing are the environments. Unlike other apocalyptic games, you don't just have completely destroyed areas. Instead, you'll be traveling through various landscapes. Finally, the last thing that makes the game more amazing is the storyline and the characters. At first, it looks a very simple and kind of slow-paced game, but the more you progress, the more it starts to make sense. You'll find it heartwarming as the game makes you get to know several characters and share a bond. The overall storyline is also something that you can never expect from a post-apocalyptic game. Final Fantasy 15. This one is like, where should I even start? The 15th part was my entry into the series. I have always liked Noctis' style and outfit, which kind of made me hooked. Also, we can never forget about the visuals and cutscenes. I don't know about you guys, but even before playing the game, I did watch some clips and cutscenes which made me go crazy, as I felt as though the visuals are really taken up a notch here. The game is a blend of stunning environments, an engaging storyline, some decent boss battles, and the soundtracks. It's actually a road trip with your best buddies, but in a world filled with magic, massive monsters, and an epic storyline. Short story is that you play as a prince, heir to the throne, and you're on a journey to save your kingdom from the evil empire. Somewhere around that you also learn a lot of things and become worthy of a king. I'm not gonna lie, it's absolutely a great game to dive into and could also be a nice choice to step into the Final Fantasy series, as you don't need any prior knowledge of the previous titles. The entire journey feels like a blast, as you'll be entering so many different places, and the game's depth increases because you have an entire team with you. These are not your normal NPCs, they feel like real friends. Their banter, the way they interact, the way everyone has some special skills. The game does a great job of making you feel like you're on this grand adventure, plus you get to drive around in this slick car called the Regalia. It's like the ultimate road trip vehicle, and you can customize it, listen to classic Final Fantasy tunes while cruising, and just take in the beautiful scenery. Death Stranding. Death Stranding is one of those games that's hard to categorize. It's part walking simulator, part action game, and part social experiment. It's a unique experience that not everyone will love, but if you're open to something different and don't mind a bit of philosophical musing, it's definitely worth a play. I know that the game is kind of controversial, and a lot of people are not a big fan of it. However, in my opinion, I guess a lot of players drop the game before it actually gets interesting. The prologue is quite lengthy, which could be a turn-off. But trust me, Death Stranding is quite an amazing game from the story and graphical perspective. I mean, we all know that most games of Kojima Productions are definitely best, which is also the case for this one. Here, you're a delivery man of sorts, but instead of just dropping off Amazon packages, you're reconnecting isolated cities and people in a world devastated by mysterious explosions. There's a lot of symbolism and metaphors about connection and isolation, which can be quite thought-provoking if you're into that kind of thing. Now, if we talk about gameplay and soundtracks, then I can tell you both aspects are pretty great. Gameplay-wise, it's kind of a mix between walking sim, stealth, strategy, and shooting. You're going to like it if you're open to something new and different. The soundtrack deserves a mention too. It's haunting and beautiful, perfectly complementing the game's environment. Every time a song kicks in while you're trekking through the wilderness, it adds an emotional layer to your journey. Overall, from a graphic standpoint, Death Stranding is a major upgrade, and it looks amazing on modern consoles. Red Dead Redemption 2. Every time I see this game, I think of like what I am even supposed to say. Everyone already knows about how awesome Red Dead is. The attention to detail is insane. From the way Arthur's beard grows over time to the weather changing dynamically. You will be finding so many small little things which will make you realize how much work Rockstar has put into it. One moment you'll see an NPC cutting a tree, and after a few hours when you come back, you'll notice that now he's chopping wood. It's like everyone in the open world is moving forward just like in real life. to this day. People are making videos about how detailed the open world is and how many things you probably have missed in your playthrough. The open world is massive and there's always something to do. Whether it's hunting, fishing, or just exploring the beautiful landscapes, you never run out of activities. You can do so much more besides the main storyline. I know for sure a lot of you guys have spent over 100 hours just roaming around the map.
Been better. All right, well, good luck.
There's only one little issue that probably makes players quit the game. It's the pacing of Chapter 1. You might feel as though you're just walking or riding on your horse, but believe me, the moment Chapter 2 starts, you'll have one of the best open worlds to explore. One of the standout features is realism. Your actions have consequences, and the world reacts to how you play. If you rob a store or kill someone, people remember, and you can end up with a bounty on your head. The honor system is also a great touch, where your actions determine whether you're seen as a hero or a villain. Red Dead 2 is one of those games that will be played for decades to come. Cyberpunk 2077. You knew that this was going to happen. I mean, who can conclude a list of best graphics games without mentioning Cyberpunk? Imagine a game where you're thrown into this insanely detailed, neon-soaked city that's like a mashup of all the coolest sci-fi movies you've ever seen. Yep, that's Cyberpunk for you. CD Projekt Red gave us another great open world game that is on the level of Witcher 3, but is set in a futuristic world. I guess some players are still thinking that the game is bad and there are still glitches or bugs. However, it's 2024 now. Everything has been fixed, and the game is nothing like when it was first released. You start off as V, a mercenary in Night City, and right from the start, you're hit with this overwhelming sense of freedom and immersion. It's like the game opens everything for you, and you can do basically everything. It's like GTA, but in a much more advanced world. One of the best things besides the graphics are the modifications. Even the character creation feels too much. I'm sure some of you must have spent hours just creating your favorite character. The in-game is also filled with customizations. You can do a lot of stuff with your human body, well, if you can still call it human. Also, not just you, but even the NPCs have got their own modifications. Some are using prosthetics, some are using robotic eyes, memory chips. There's just a lot of stuff that I can't even begin to describe. Nevertheless, I think you should all give it a try if you love playing open world games. This will be a great time to do before CD Red releases another masterpiece. Cyberpunk 2077 is an immersive RPG that sucks you into its world. Whether you're there for the story, the exploration, or the chaotic combat, there's something for every gamer to enjoy. The Witcher 3. What can I say that players don't already know about this game? Sometimes I even feel like I'm over-exaggerating, but it's just so awesome. It's not just the graphics, there's an amazing storyline, which is, in fact, its significance as we only got the game after the books became a major hit. The second factor are the details. It's almost unbelievable that even a decade-old game has more detailed environments, objects, NPCs than some of the new ones. The world feels super alive, and every NPC is doing something. It could be at the level of the Red Dead, but something that's set in a world of monsters, magic, and kingdoms. There's also combat, which truly feels like on peak as you have got a lot of stuff. Your inventory is huge, consists of weapons, magic potions, tools, items, and armor. Besides the quest, there's also a nice feeling to venture into the open world and look for certain items, grind for the money. It really adds depth and keeps the gameplay fresh. Buying and upgrading stuff has always been one of my favorite features of RPG games. I can't begin to describe how amazing it feels to look for a certain item in dungeons and finally open those chests. Another ultimate feature that makes Witcher 3 great are the environments or visuals. The game's map is divided into various landscapes such as mountains, forests, sewers, dungeons, cities. There's like a lot of stuff that truly make you feel like you're in a fantasy world of magic and monsters. Speaking of monsters, each creature feels unique, requiring different strategies to take down. You can't just hack and slash your way through, you need to prep, use your magic, bombs, and potions wisely. Overall, it's one of those rare games where every aspect from the world building to the story to the characters comes together perfectly. The Last of Us Part 2. If you've played the first game, you'll find that this sequel not only builds on the strong foundations of its predecessor, but also takes some bold and unexpected turns. You start by continuing the story of Ellie, who's now a few years older and living in a relatively safe community. The game begins with a sense of normalcy and peace, but it quickly shifts gears into a brutal journey of vengeance. Unlike the previous part, this time you have many characters besides just Joel and Ellie, which kind of makes everything more interesting, but low-key, I just loved how much bond there was in the first part and how everything was just about the two main characters. Anyways, the story is a controversial topic, but besides that, I'm sure that you're also going to love the second part. It's got a lot more in store for us than just simply enhanced graphics and visuals. You'll find yourself scavenging for resources, crafting items, and making tough decisions about how to approach each situation. The gameplay is a mix of stealth, exploration, and intense combat. Some of the features are the same as the first part, while some are modernized. The game tries really hard to give you guys a new environment or a new feeling with familiar faces.
Look out!
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Alright, let's talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a game that totally takes adventure and exploration to new heights with its amazing graphics. If you're a fan of Lara Croft and her epic quests, this game is a visual feast you won't want to miss. You play as Lara Croft, and this time she's venturing deep into the jungles of South America to stop a Mayan apocalypse. The story is super engaging, filled with ancient mysteries, deadly traps, and intense action sequences. Lara's journey is, as always, thrilling and full of surprises. The graphics in Shadow of the Tomb Raider are absolutely stunning. The environments are incredibly detailed, from the dense, lush jungles to the dark, eerie tombs. The lighting is just amazing, with rays of sunlight filtering through the trees, and yeah, the way shadows play across the ancient ruins adds so much atmosphere. The water effects, whether you're swimming through flooded caves or navigating raging rivers, are particularly impressive and look incredibly realistic. One of the coolest things about this game is how alive the world feels. The jungle is teeming with wildlife, and you'll see everything from colorful birds to dangerous predators. The level of detail in the vegetation, the rocks, and the ancient structures is just mind-blowing. It really makes you feel like you're exploring a real living place. Combat and exploration are like seamlessly integrated into the game. The stealth mechanics are super satisfying, allowing you to use the environment to your advantage, like hiding in bushes or climbing trees to get the drop on enemies. The puzzles are really well designed, challenging you to think and explore every nook and cranny of the beautifully crafted tombs and ruins. So, if you're looking for a game that combines thrilling adventure with some of the best graphics out there, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a must-play. It's got a captivating story, intense gameplay, and like visuals that will leave you in awe. Dive into Lara's latest adventure and see just how beautiful and deadly the world can be. Uncharted 4. If you've played the previous Uncharted games, you already know the kind of epic adventures Nathan Drake gets into, but this one really takes it to a whole new level. First off, the story is just fantastic. It dives deep into Nate's past, bringing his long-lost brother Sam into the picture, which adds a whole new layer to the character dynamics. The whole game feels like you're playing through an incredibly well-made action movie. The pacing, the dialogue, the twists, it's all top-notch. Visually, it's stunning. Naughty Dog pulled out all the stops here. The environments are amazing, from lush jungles and ancient ruins to bustling cities and difficult mountains. There were times I just had to stop and take in the scenery. Now, probably a lot of players felt bored in the initial hours, but I don't know what to say, as the game is still pretty exciting just from the start. Maybe if you skipped out on this one, I recommend giving it another shot and spending 3 to 5 hours before deciding to quit. Uncharted is one of those gems that will give you the best feeling of a treasure seeker and show you what kind of problems they face. There will be times when you'll scratch your head to solve the puzzle. You've got your climbing, shooting, and puzzle solving, but everything feels smoother and more polished. The grappling hook is a neat addition, adding some cool new ways to navigate the environments and engage in combat. Speaking of combat, it's as thrilling as ever. You can approach situations with guns blazing or take a stealthier route, which is pretty satisfying. All in all, Uncharted 4 is a masterpiece. It's got an engaging story, realistic graphics, and gameplay that's both fun and challenging. It's a game that shouldn't be missed whether you're a longtime fan of the series or just starting out for the first time. Gears 5. I recently played through the entire series on Game Pass and oh man, it was a blast. Now, specifically talking about Gears of War 5, so it is one of the most optimized Unreal Engine 4 game I've played. This game is just perfection in terms of visuals, so many screenshot opportunities during the playthrough and damn was it an experience. I know the newer Gears of War games get some hate from the fans, but I don't really know what it's about. I am a single player gamer and doesn't care about what's up with the online stuff, so it was a blast for me through and through. If you're into intense action and absolutely stunning visuals, this game is a must play. It's part of the iconic Gears of War series and yeah, it takes everything to the next level. You play as Kate Diaz, who's on a personal mission to uncover the origins of the Locust and like her own mysterious past. The story is gripping and full of twists and turns that keep you hooked from start to finish. But let's talk about the graphics. They're like absolutely mind-blowing. The game is set in a variety of environments, from frozen tundras to lush jungles and war-torn cities. Each location is incredibly detailed, with stunning textures, lighting, and special effects that make everything look like super realistic. The weather effects like snow and rain are particularly impressive and add a lot to the atmosphere.
Don't know what's there. Just promise that if you run into something, you
The combat in Gears 5 is like classic Gears of War, but even better. It's fast-paced, brutal, and super satisfying. The cover system works flawlessly, and the variety of weapons and enemies keeps things like fresh and exciting. The game also introduces new mechanics like Jack, your robot companion, who can help out in combat and solve puzzles. So if you're looking for a game with like jaw-dropping graphics and intense action, Gears 5 is a no-brainer. It's got a compelling story, awesome combat, and yeah, some of the best visuals you'll see in any game. Jump in and see for yourself why it's one of the great graphics games you just have to play. Spider-Man 2.
Heads up!
The developers finally heard our wishes and included the black and blue ravaging beast. It truly felt satisfying to see Venom on PS5. Plus, you get to play as both Peter and Miles Morales, each with their unique abilities and fighting styles. It keeps the gameplay fresh and exciting. Spider-Man 2 is just something else. If you thought the first game was good, just wait until you swing into this one. The web-slinging mechanics feel even smoother, and the way they've expanded the city of New York is just breathtaking. You can really feel the wind rushing past as you zip between skyscrapers, and the transitions between swinging, running up walls, and combat are seamless. There are more gadgets, more combos, and the enemies are smarter, so you really have to think on your feet. The boss fights are epic and super satisfying when you finally take them down. One of the coolest things is how alive the city feels. You've got random crimes popping up, citizens reacting to you, and even some side missions that are surprisingly deep. It's like you're really living the life of Spider-Man. If you're a fan of the first game or just love Spider-Man in general, Spider-Man 2 is a must-play. It's got everything: a great story, awesome gameplay, and a city that feels more alive than ever. Trust me, you won't be able to put it down.
Down, Embers!
MAFIA Definitive Edition. Alright, let's dive into MAFIA Definitive Edition, a game that's like a love letter to classic gangster movies with some seriously stunning visuals. If you're into epic tales of crime, loyalty, and the roaring 30s, this game is a must-play. It's a full remake of the original Mafia game, and yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. You play as Tommy Angelo, a taxi driver who gets pulled into the world of organized crime. The story is gripping, filled with all the drama, betrayal, and action you'd expect from a like top-notch gangster narrative. The characters are really well developed and the voice acting is like spot on, making you feel totally immersed in Tommy's world. Now, let's talk about the graphics that are out of this world. The developers rebuilt the entire game from the ground up and it shows. The city of Lost Heaven is beautifully detailed with its cobblestone streets, vintage cars, and like all the atmospheric touches that make it feel alive. The lighting is especially impressive with sunsets casting long shadows and yeah, the rain-soaked streets reflecting neon signs. The cutscenes in MAFIA Definitive Edition are like movie quality. The character models are incredibly detailed and the facial animations bring so much emotion to every scene. It's like watching a high-budget film, but you know, you're in control of the action.
They're loyal. That's right.
Driving through the city is a visual treat. The cars look fantastic, and the city's various districts, from bustling downtown areas to quieter suburban streets, are like meticulously crafted. The attention to detail is insane, with period-accurate architecture, billboards, and even the clothing of the pedestrians. So, if you're looking for a game with like a gripping story and incredible graphics, Mafia Definitive Edition should be on your list. It's got everything epic gangster drama, beautiful visuals, and yeah, gameplay that keeps you hooked from start to finish. Dive into the world of Lost Heaven and experience one of the best looking games out there.
Pockets full of Salieri's dirty money.
Go get him, Tommy!
Before I reveal my final pick, here are some honorable mentions. Horizon Forbidden West. Zero Dawn was such a great game. It had some issues, but overall, it felt really amazing. Its sequel, Forbidden West, included a lot of new mechanics which sort of freshen up everything. I'm not going to talk about which one is better, as some people really appreciate the sequel while some think that it's basically a graphical overhaul. Not gonna lie, I do think that the game is more advanced in terms of graphics and visuals while everything else feels the same or a little bit different. I just think that the only reason you should really dive into this game is if you have played the first part. I won't recommend diving into the sequel before the original because you'll likely feel more connected to the storyline and game's environment. Now, moving on, we have Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, it's not your usual action, adventure, shooting, RPG kind of stuff. I think only a certain type of audience will surely love this game. However, I do agree that the graphics are amazing. I mean, we all know that it's portrayal of the real world. So obviously the buildings, the landmarks, everything is going to be realistic. Therefore, if you can be patient and want to experience the Earth virtually, then there's no better game than Flight Simulator. The third bonus game is Plague Tale Requiem. Hands down, this one is one of the most underrated series. I mean, sure, Requiem got a lot of recognition because it's a sequel of the greatly successful Innocence. It's just that I believe more and more people need to play the Plague Tale series. Even if not Requiem, I recommend trying out the first part. The sequel is just something that continues the storyline of Amisha while adding some new stuff. It's certainly a nice game with improved graphics and fine textures. For those of you who don't know, Plague Tale series is about solving puzzles, deep storyline, rat-infested world, and highly slow-paced adventure. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds. The whole slow-pacing thing is highly engaging as you can experience the story more deeply. Moving on, the last bonus game is Control. Have you ever wondered how much chaos you can cause with your telekinesis powers? Well, then this one's right up your alley. Control is this mysterious game where you are a walking mayhem, throwing enemies left and right with your powers. You basically need to find out what's going on around you and what's happening in the building that you're in. There's some kind of mystical entity and the reality is continuously changing around you. It's Quantum Break, but with much better graphics and more chaos. There are no monsters. Control is more of a mix of sci-fi and supernatural stuff. You're absolutely gonna love it. It also has some Alan Wake vibes. Days Gone. I don't even know why I'm including this game as my final pick, This doesn't mean that it's the best one among the others, but it's surely something. You will never expect what Days Gone has shown from a post-apocalyptic open world game. There's just something about it that made it such a huge deal. Also, I don't know why some people are still calling this game underrated. I think that it's perfectly rated and a lot of players have known about it. It's not much of a hidden gem. Still, I do want more players to give this one a try. Days Gone has got to be the best zombie game ever with the concept of an open world. The way everything feels is just fascinating. You have got your own bike, which in my opinion is the best feature the developers have added. You feel like an absolute beast while riding your bike in a zombie-filled world. Also, you can customize and make modifications. It's so good to upgrade the bike and add new silencer, tires, handle, colors, design. The bike is your lifeline. You use it to get around, store weapons, and even outrun freaker hordes. The game opens with a really nice scene with you riding through the open world with your brother, who's not just a simple NPC, but someone who truly stands out and help you in various ways. Now, I have talked about the best feature of the bike. Let's talk about the combat and storyline. Days Gone story is pretty nice. Your main mission is to find out what happened to your wife after the zombie virus. While you're on this mission, you will be doing a lot more for other survivor camps and even battle the Reapers, who are just normal people who happen to go insane and lose their sanity. Combat in Days Gone is intense. You've got a variety of weapons at your disposal, from melee weapons like bats and machetes to firearms and explosives. The freaker hordes are no joke either. They're these massive swarms that can easily overwhelm you if you're not careful. Alright guys, this finishes our list of some of the best graphics games that are going to shock you with their amazing worlds and visuals. Almost every moment and cutscene in these games will provide you with a lot of content combined with 10 out of 10 graphics. If you want an engaged storyline, then you've got it. If you want some intense action, then you've got that as well. Plus, you're getting all this in an enhanced manner where every detail shines. Anyways, if you have made it this far, then please subscribe, as we are close to reaching 19,000 subscribers, and join my Discord community for helpful content.